Recognize Mr. Phillips from the great state of Minnesota for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me start with you, Mr. Gray. You made some comments, and I concur that deficit spending is accretive to inflation. I think it's basic economics. I just looked at core inflation rates around the world, the most recent update. I see the U.S. is about 5.5%. Some countries doing a little bit better than us. But we got Germany at 5.8%, Italy at 6.09%, Denmark 6.1%, Greece 6.1%, Spain 6.1%, Paraguay 6.2%, France 6.3%, Norway 6.3%, Ireland 6.4%, European Union 6.45%, Australia 6.6%, Netherlands 6.6%, Honduras 6.6%, Peru 6.7%, United Kingdom 6.8%, Belgium 6.8%, New Zealand 7.3%. I can keep going. Sweden 7.6%, Chile 8.7%. Estonia 10.8, Poland 12.2, Pakistan 20, Egypt 38, Argentina 105. Not so bad comparatively. Is that a fair statement compared to developed countries around the world?
Compared to those large numbers, our smaller numbers are better.
Okay. And by the way, I'm the first to admit I'm really tired of both parties being very poor fiscal managers of our economy. One party talks about doing it a little bit more than the other. Neither are doing it. Both deserve blame. What president in our country's history added more to our federal debt than any other in a 4-year term?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I have a pretty good guess.
Who do you think?
I would imagine it's probably not the current one, but perhaps the last one.
That's correct. Donald Trump added $7 trillion. So all I'm getting at here is I'm tired of this nonsense about who, but we're all responsible for it. Every single one of us, both parties. And I simply want to focus more on solutions because that's what we're here for. So to all of you, our witnesses, thank you. To our chairman and ranking member, thank you. But in terms of culture, man, I just am tired of this throwing stones because we're both responsible. With that said, I do want to talk about solutions. Some of you have mentioned some before. I've been a small business owner my entire life. I know how darn tough it is during the best of times, let alone during inflationary times. I also, as a banker, Ms. Lee, I can imagine trying to find that intersection between raising rates to cool the economy and reduce inflation with ensuring that we have capital access to small businesses is a challenge. So we got 2.5 minutes, love to go down the row. Just share with me what you think is the most important thing that we policymakers can do now in a thoughtful manner to actually make life easier for small business owners as it relates to inflation, regulation, or anything else. Why don't we start with you, Mr. Bivens?
I would say for small business owners, the most important thing is enhanced antitrust agenda level.
Can you talk about that a little bit? You mentioned that earlier. Be a little more specific.
A couple of things. I mean, one, I think we often think about antitrust as a make sure big companies are not charging their own customers really high prices because of their privileged market position. We also need to look at how they treat their suppliers. Yeah. A lot of the stories about small businesses being squeezed are my input prices are rising. I have no control over that. Then when I try to sell my stuff, often to a big corporate retailer, they just tell me no. And they do not give me any sort of extra price boost at all. I think that's a real problem, and that's an asymmetry of bargaining power that's going to hurt them even during non-inflationary times, but it's becoming really acute now.
I appreciate that. Okay, antitrust, got that. All right, Ms. Lee, what can we do expeditiously to help small businesses?
In my opinion, every congresswoman, every congressman needs to sit and just be in that small business owner's shoes. Mm-hmm. Get educated, get in depth into the real cost of each particular different type of industry, different type of business, because that's one of the best things about banking. We call them deals. No deal is the same. Every deal is different, and every customer is different, and that's what I feel would be beneficial because it would come back to getting educated and then forming the policies that need to be formed.
Thank you. In fact, I do a series called On the Job with Dean. I spend 2 to 3 hours a shift at small businesses. I've done about 30 of them in my district. Most educational, insightful, enlightening thing. I wish every member of our committee would do the same in his or her districts. Why don't we move to you, Mr. Zittel? I'm sorry, Mr. Gray. Yeah. Sorry, just trying to throw you off a little bit.
I would just say do no harm, and this Congress has paid good attention and discussed opportunities to increase supply across a number of industries, and I would continue those.
Okay. And Mr. Zittel?
Consistency in policy making.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether it's state line or country or in the world. You can't sell coal to China. We live under the same sky. and then want to be all electric. Same thing with state to state. Policymaking has to have a concept, and they gotta know what they're talking about.
Any specific policy relative to your business that would be most helpful? You mentioned, natural gas under your anything?
Labor for us.
Labor.
Our state and labor.
Maybe immigration reform to help increase the supply of labor? What do you think of that?
No, we don't. Well, we're good.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, H2A and us work out just fine. It's our state labor.
Okay. Thank you. I yield back.